This is The Litter Box, a Detroit Lions podcast with your hosts, Chet West and Bill Patterson.
Welcome to the Detroit Lions Litter Box, and it is with a somber tone that your hosts, Billy P. and Chet, talk about the Thanksgiving Day loss to the Green Bay Packers, who are now 3-0 in the NFC Norris. And if less the Bears sweep the Packers, the division is over. The Lions are mathematically out of it, and it's going to be very difficult for them to recover from this. The only saving grace is that Green Bay still has to travel to Denver, who is definitely one of the three best teams in the AFC. The Lions came up just a bit short against the Packers. They lost 31-24, and depth and lack thereof was again a reoccurring theme. What say you?
First and foremost, apparently the new thing to do in Chicago is to tear your shirt off and jump around the locker room. I couldn't believe what I saw Ben Johnson do after their win yesterday. Good win for the Bears, but I'm absolutely shocked that I saw that happen, and I wanted to make sure we addressed that right off the bat on the show today.
Do you know it dates back to his high school?
Awesome. Sweet for Ben.
And they won like 2 or 3 state championships, and he's some country dude. You know how into country I am.
Yeah.
Meaning, I like the old school guys,
sure.
Ryan Adams, but not pop garbage.
Great.
Anyway, one of those guys was his high school teammate as well.
Ah, okay.
He does it with his band before they go on stage every show.
Here's the deal. It's love that the Bears and the city of Chicago have a team that is somewhat respectable again. On that note, they have played one of the weaker schedules I've seen in quite some time, and they have been so fortunate to get some of these teams at the right time. They got the Cowboys at the right time. They got the Eagles at the right time. They got the Commanders at the right time. It's kind of incredible. If you look up and down their schedule, Bill, it's crazy when they've gotten to play some of these teams. And
it's the difference between a first place schedule and a fourth place schedule.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is let's not get too excited if you're a Bears fan right now.
No,
I get it. They're 9-3. It's great.
Greatest defense of all time.
They have 5 games left, and these are going to be some of their most challenging games of the season. So we'll see what happens. I'll be curious to see how they end the season. They have 9 wins right now.
Okay, you said a lot.
Which is incredible.
I want to just make a couple comments.
Yes.
One, is there ever a bad time to play the Commanders this year?
So, no, there never is.
There never is,
right?
2, the T-shirt references. I have a 1985 Chicago Bears T-shirt that says "Greatest Defense Ever" for the listeners that can't see it.
Bill's wearing his Bears gear now because he has completely jumped ship on our Lions for the season.
I've lived in Chicago longer than I ever did Detroit. And then last point on this is, if you're a Lions fan and want them to make the playoffs, you better be cheering for the Bears, because if
probably true.
The Packers are now 3-0 in the division. The Bears are 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. The Bears are 1-2. And the Lions are also 1-2.
Yeah. Our choices as to who we cheer for at this point have narrowed down. Yeah.
And your Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy is now in concussion protocol. So they're starting whom?
I think it's going to be the kid from Minnesota. What's his name? Brosmer? Max Brosmer. Oh, Lord.
So hoping that the Vikings pull a rabbit out of the hat's probably not realistic. So let's talk a little bit about the game.
You want to get back to the Lions is what you're saying. I get it. You asked me a question. What's going on? What's happening? I think for me, Bill, and I'm going to return a question here in a minute, a lot of what I see happening out there is on the defense a little bit. We had one game recently against the Eagles where we were like, oh, the defense was incredible. I don't know about that. After watching the Eagles the last couple of weeks, I'm wondering if maybe their offense is just really struggling right now.
And
we kind of got the benefit of holding a struggling offense to 16 points right as they started their massive struggle. One of the things that bothers me right now about what I'm seeing is we seem very inflexible with our strategy on defense. This man defense. How would you grade our defense, Bill? Top to bottom, what would you say? Do we have the most talented players in the league in our defensive backfield, on our D-line, our linebackers? Do we have a middle of the road? Are we bad in some areas? What would you think? How would you break our defense down?
We're a B-, and I would
B-.
elevate that grade if Kirby Joseph had played at any point in the last.
You'd give it a B? You'd say we're about a B defense if Kirby's playing?
I mean, he's an all-pro safety, and
yeah,
quite frankly, the only guys that are really playing above average are Brian Branch and Jack Campbell. Everybody else is just a guy out there.
Sure.
The PFF grades support that. I think Branch has to do too much without his running mate back there. I think Thomas Harper's been a nice story. Second-year player from Notre Dame, number 12. But he is not a replacement level player when you're losing a Kirby Joseph. And so, again, this comes back to depth. Why Brad Holmes was allergic to signing another pass rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. And Brad, we weren't asking you to sign Myles Garrett. We were asking you to sign somebody other than Marcus Davenport and Josh Paschal.
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, Marcus Davenport played, and I am looking down the box score right now. He doesn't show.
Pretty poor.
He doesn't show. He didn't do anything. He didn't have a tackle.
He played a total of 23 snaps, and he kind of just sat there. He didn't do much out on his edge there. So I get where you're going with that. He was kind of I didn't even know he was playing until we got halfway through the first half. I'm like, oh, Marcus Davenport's out there.
The Packers did a great job eliminating the interior. So Roy Lopez, DJ Reader, and Tyleek Williams were all non-factors. And I'm sorry, but our guy, Bob Muhammad, was a great story. But there's a reason he's a journeyman at age 30 in the NFL, and the book's out on him. A couple other things that were kind of just eye-opening. We saw Vaki not only playing special teams, but coming in dime packages. Yep. So he's back to what he was doing when he was at Utah. Terrion Arnold was back. He was good, I thought. Amik Robertson played as well as he could. But we miss Kirby Joseph back there, and Brad Holmes' reluctance to build edge depth or to provide another weapon outside of Aiden Hutchinson is ruining itself. And I think Brad thought he was the smartest guy in the room. And I've already talked about the 2024 draft and what a whiff that was. And if you're going to trade the capital that was traded again for Isaac Cole Tesla, and then have him have a stat line, 2 catches for 35 yards. He did have a touchdown, but outside Tom Kennedy, TK85, had more targets and more catches than Isaac Coleslaw did, Chet.
Yeah.
Jared Goff had nobody to throw to. Jameson Williams, 7 catches, 144 yards, had a long of 44, a touchdown. He was great. He did drop that 4th down pass, but I mean, there was some trickeration as well, and I'll get into that in a minute, where Montgomery threw a perfect pass to Jared Goff, and he just dropped it. Goff's not playing like himself, and part of the reason is offensive line depth. Can you talk a little bit about the surprise at center for this game?
Yeah, I didn't realize that Glasgow wasn't going to be playing. I see that Mr. Cologne got to play, and he immediately rolled up on a one Amon-Ra St. Brown within the first couple series of the game and knocked Amon-Ra out for the game. Not his fault. I mean, these things just happen, but it sort of stunk to see that. And Cologne struggled. He was as effective as Glasgow, put it that way, which may be more indicative of how useless Glasgow is at the center position at this point. But
so Wednesday before the game, we got news that our guy Frank Ragnow is coming out of retirement. When he plays, whether it's this week against the Cowboys, the week following against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, we don't know that yet. Is it helpful? Yes. And I was accused of being a wet blanket and negative Bill because everybody else on our Lions text chains was doing cartwheels over this. And my point was this. If you lose the Packers game, the division's already over, so then you're fighting for a wild card. Does he help, and is he an upgrade over Graham Glasgow? Absolutely. But the fact it remains, he retired for a reason, and what's to prevent him from retiring again?
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take the team to assimilate back to him. And again, I think when 53 guys are in perfect health, which is never going to happen in the NFL, Brad Holmes can assemble a good roster. But the difference between Brad Holmes and a Les Snead or a Howie Roseman is that he doesn't build a 53-man roster. He's good at building a 38-man roster or a 40-man roster, and he's really struggled and gets cute trading away valuable picks that could be depth pieces. And, I'm real concerned that the window is closing on this Lions team.
The window is probably closing for this season. I'm not going to give up on them for the future. I'm not going to give up on this window, this Super Bowl window everybody wants to talk about. I think this season's been a rough one. You had total turnover in the coaching staff. You lost an all-pro center who is now coming back, and let's see what happens with that. I am concerned about the health of Jared Goff. The guy is literally, his time to throw stats are abysmally low. He gets about 2.5 seconds to throw. We had one pass over 20 yards in this game. We were down. We were playing from behind. We had one pass over 20 yards. We at least had, 8 attempts over 10 yards. That's better than what we were doing. We didn't throw too many balls behind the line of scrimmage like we did in the previous week against the Giants. We had a ton of 12 short passes over the middle within 10 yards. That's just indicative of hot routes and needing to get rid of the ball. He doesn't have time. Our pass blocking stats are terrible across the board. Our PFF grades are awful. I watched Taylor Decker commit the ultimate sin, and he just whiffed on Micah Parsons on a block in this game. And I would be embarrassed if I was Taylor Decker. You're all pro left tackle. I get it. Micah Parsons good. Okay. He's great. You whiffed so badly that you almost got your quarterback killed. That's the type of thing that when Jared Goff drops back to throw and he's got that in the back of his mind that his left tackle can't cover his backside anymore, he's going to be happy feet. How are you mentally getting over that? That's amazing. Goff can even drop back and pass a ball at this point. So I see that stuff. And then I look at the Packers, when Jordan Love dropped back under pressure, he had 3.5 seconds to throw the ball under pressure. That's amazing. How does he have that much time? Well, we'll go back over to our defense. Bill, is the man defense good for this group of players? I asked you about what you thought of the quality of our defense because I'm curious to know, can you run man defense with the quality we have out there and the ability and the skill sets of these players? I don't think you can.
No, to answer your question in short, I think Kelvin Shepard's lack of experience being the D coordinator and being married to this man-to-man is costly.
We have no flexibility.
Well, it's also costly for the fact that you and I both think highly of Aiden Hutchinson. Is he Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett level? No, but he's the next tier down, which is good enough. The problem is he needs another guy to help him. And for whatever reason, the Lions thought that Marcus Davenport and Josh Paschal were the answers. They've even slid Aleem McNeil over to one of the edge spots, which is, it weakens you in two areas, Chet, because then you're taking one of your best run stuffers and moving him to the edge, which isn't a natural position. So, no, I don't think this works. And do you think my B- was harsh? I mean,
I think it was, I think you were way above. I think they're about a C+ ability-wise across the board. And you cannot run man every play and be that dedicated to a man defense when you do not have players of a high level of skill. We don't have a D-back who is a high level of skill. We do not have one. We don't have a corner that's a high level of skill. You put those guys on an island in man and they just get beat up game in and game out.
We could have J.C. Horn and PS2 back there. And if the pass rush isn't getting home and Jordan Love or Marcus Mariota or Jalen Hurts are allowed a lot of time to throw, they're going to get picked apart. I mean,
there's a problem there. It is. I will give you your pass rush issues, but there is a product of this man defense and the predictability of it that offenses can set up and play against to stymie a pass rush. For instance, if you're in a man D and you want to keep those edge rushers at home or keep them from going full on pursuit, throw screen passes all day long out into the flat. And that's what these teams are doing to us. Run the ball up the gut all day long if that's what you want to do.
Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley.
You can flip that ball out to those guys, and our pass rush is instantaneous. It's just instantly mitigated.
Yeah.
And we don't have, now if you have I don't know, Fred Warner, okay? You had a Fred Warner in your linebacking core that can cover a running back, cover a tight end like a D-back can. You can do that all day long. You can rely on those linebackers to pick those guys up. We don't have that. We don't have a linebacking core that can cover to save their life.
We have one.
Who? Which one?
Campbell. But
Campbell, in pass coverage, though, he's okay, but he's not great.
He's good enough to cover a tight end or,
maybe
a back out of the slot, but he can't cover a slot receiver. I mean, outside of Fred Warner, very few can.
Anytime this season when teams have got out there around the edges on us, it's hurt a lot, and it spreads us out, takes that man defense, and it just puts people on an island. And these are guys like Mollett, who's gone, but now you've got Harper back there on an island. You get the deep ball, you get the big play. We get burned by that a lot. And it's just because these guys are out there by themselves and they don't have the ability to play man against Christian Watson and Dubes and all these other guys that were getting thrown at us.
Who aren't even that great. I mean, let's be honest.
Sure. But those guys our guys that are playing in the defensive backfield should not be starting games in the NFL.
The Packers' best receiver is Jaden Reed, and he didn't even play.
Those are practice squad players that we have on our defensive backfield right now. Amik Robertson, for all the love we give Amik on this show, Amik is not good, okay? Amik is like a backup corner. That's it. He's not your one and he's not your two. He's like a backup corner.
Well, he's your slot corner. I mean, he's supposed to be your third guy.
You can call him your slot corner, but he's not a guy you put out on an island against one of these top receivers.
No, which goes back to your man-to-man versus zone.
We don't have the ability.
He needs help, and the drop-off between a Kirby Joseph to a Thomas Harper is noticeable. And I give Thomas Harper bouquets. I think he could be a nice depth piece for this team going forward.
They ran Dubes and Watson in motion on the goal line yesterday, right before we got jobbed on the timeout with the false start that everybody's raging about. And yeah, that was a terrible call. Really odd that they got that timeout in there. We don't, we're not into blaming the refs for every loss we take, but that was a really bad, egregious call that basically gave the Packers a do-over right there. That they ran that against man because they knew they're in man coverage. They're going to stay in man coverage. These guys are going to stick with their guy. And they ran that route into the corner, into the side, right on the pylon there. And our man coverage couldn't stick with it. They need to switch into a zone there and switch it up, but they didn't do it. They had a guy going underneath that just threw us for a loop, and you have no defense that can cover that if you're in man. Doesn't work. I don't care how good your guys are. They have to be Superman.
So why I think the window, I hope I'm wrong on this. And again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I just want to talk about what's coming down. Jared Goff is going to be very well compensated next year. The Lions punted that down the line. So he's going to be a cap hit of over $60 million. And then you've also paid St. Brown. You have paid JMO. We've talked about Deckers in the twilight of his career. He's playing hurt. You've paid Sewell. So the Lions are really kind of up against it, Chet. And the fact that you probably have to make decisions on Graham Glasgow. You have to make a decision on Taylor Decker. So that's two offensive linemen. Hold on. Let me keep going on this. David Montgomery's another one you're going to have to make a decision on. DJ Reader's out. Roy Lopez is probably out. He's going to get paid. He's played well. Alex Anzalone's out. I don't think Derek Barnes is anything more than a replacement guy. I've never been a Malcolm Rodriguez fan. So where I'm going with Meek Robertson's going to be a free agent as well, is you've got a lot of holes to fill, and I don't see a lot of youth outside of maybe Ty Leak and Aleem McNeil coming up from within. Christian Mahogany should be one of the guards. Ratledge should be the other. I don't know what they do with Miles Frazier, but I don't think he's a left tackle caliber. You don't draft a starting left tackle in the 5th round like the Lions did. So I know the Lions have a draft next year, but I'm starting to sense that there's a lot more holes that need to be filled than capital that might be available.
Bill, I don't think you're the only one out there starting to poke a few holes in how the Brad Holmes regime has drafted over the last year or two here. It's interesting when you look at it to see that we're trying to fill major spots on the O-line with 3rd, 4th, 5th round draft picks. That's going to be a gamble no matter how you slice it. They are going to have to draft probably a left tackle in the 1st round next year, I think. They're going to have to take care of that position because I don't think Decker is long for it at this juncture. If they don't draft one, they're going to have to find a free agent, and there really isn't much on the market right now coming up for that. Then you're in the very small percentage zone of swinging a trade, which I don't even know if Holmes can handle that.
Now,
so I would trust him more to draft one than anything else. But
agreed.
You're going to, but then you got to start thinking about center and Ragnow. Is Ragnow around for another 2 to 3 seasons? That'd be great. He's still 29 years old. I mean, he could stick around for a bit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we've got him for another couple. Maybe he's had some time off. He's got healthy. He feels good. He wants to come back. We'll see how that goes. But can you lean on that? I don't know. Is Christian Cologne going to learn on the job?
My joke is he got tired of chatting with the other moms and dads in the pickup line at preschool or school or wherever his kids are at.
He's like, I got to get back out there.
Yeah, he's like, I just miss the locker room and talking to Hutch.
Who knows what life is like for a guy who just suddenly decides to go back to the real world, right? But at the same time, I wonder, what are they going to do about that spot? So we have, and then left guard isn't settled. Just because we've got some young guys, I haven't seen any of them really step up majorly. Now, again, I'm of the belief that offensive linemen take time to develop. So one of those guys may pop here pretty soon and be serviceable. I like the right side of our line right now with Sewell and Ratledge. I'm okay with where that stands. I think Ratledge would benefit majorly from having a capable center. I'll be very curious to see how Ratledge's career trajectory goes once Ragnow is humming and next to him playing. That may be an interesting telltale for Ratledge and his ability. How does he do when he has a capable center next to him? And for that matter, how does one of those young guys do as a left guard with a capable center next to him? Who knows?
We're going to find out as soon as Ragnow comes back.
Right?
So that'll be this season.
What do you see for Dallas, Bill?
Okay,
Let's
so
get to Dallas.
We've got 5 games left. Mathematically, the Lions have to win 4 of them. If they only win 3, they're going to need an abundance of help to make the playoffs. And that's a nervous proposition and position. We'll keep you updated, fans. The Cowboys come to Ford Field. It's a Thursday night game, so the Lions do get a full week of recovery. The Lions are favored by 3.5 points. The total is 54.5, which I agree with. I do think this is going to be like a 34-31, 31-28 type of game. If you're into the money line, Dallas plus 155. The Cowboys are playing really well. They beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day. The previous week, they
found some spirit.
They erased a 21-point deficit against the sagging Philadelphia Eagles. So this is the wrong time to play the Cowboys. I would have rather played them earlier in the year, like you mentioned, when the Bears played them. But unfortunately, that's not when we're getting them. Dak Prescott's firing on all cylinders. Williams is a really good running back. And then George Pickens looks to be one of the best, if not best, receivers in the league. I think this comes down to 2 things, Chet. Can Kelvin Shepard and MCDC come up with a different plan, zone, something to slow down the passing game of the Cowboys and slow down that offense?
At least mix it up, right? Go do a little man, do a little zone. Give us a dynamic look. And then that wouldn't be too bad.
The other one is, does Ragnow play? And if he does, is he effective? And then last is, if St. Brown doesn't play, this offense is limited. Tom Kennedy is a special team.
And Tom Kennedy. A lot of people love Tom Kennedy. You have a thing, you just like him. It's like all of a sudden he's not the guy, but you're okay accepting a Meek Robertson in our defensive backfield. I get it. I see where you're at, but I do think Tom Kennedy's probably a better kick and punt returner than what we've seen so far this season.
I'll take Khalif Raymond.
He did a pretty good job on special teams there.
All day, any day.
Okay.
So with no Raymond and no St. Brown, no Laporta, we don't have enough weapons.
I think there's a call to finally see Tislaw step up here. I know that you're kind of not in on him. I saw him make a few bad, I think it was Jamison Williams' touchdown when he whiffed on like 3 blocks. He just couldn't find somebody to block. It was very weird to watch, actually, and J-Mo made the play. What we saw there was how good J-Mo can be when the ball gets into his hands. We also saw him drop a couple more balls yesterday. It was like, what's going on? Like, he had one that he should have caught for a first down at a critical point in the game, and it wasn't the greatest pass from Goff. It was behind him a little, but you know what? You're going to make millions. You better make that catch. Both hands got on that ball.
Couldn't agree more. And the other thing is the Cowboys traded Parsons and then quickly upgraded their defensive line with Quinnen Williams from the Jets. And then they also, acquired the Packers' big run stopper as well.
Yeah.
And so their D line's now actually a strength. So if the Lions can't run the ball on them, we could have a long day. I would like to see Gibbs, flexed out on screens and get more involved in that. Same thing with Monty.
Yeah.
But if St. Brown doesn't play, that's my key to the game right now. And I'm picking the Cowboys.
Well, I think that hurt yesterday too, or Thursday too, right? Like St. Brown not being out there means the defense can start keying on other people. Covering J-Mo is tough. I get it. But I don't think he's the route runner St. Brown is. At the end of the day, he doesn't cut his routes as cleanly, and he's just not as dangerous. But, if you can keep the ball out of his hands, once it's in his hands, I think he is dangerous. So we'll see if Tesla can step up and take that number 2 receiver spot.
You know what J-Mo is? J-Mo is Elvin Harper to St. Brown's Michael Irving. That's the difference.
Okay.
Like, he's a good piece, but he's not the guy.
Well, he's a good number 2 receiver, right? I don't think we should have invested what we did on him, but he's a good number 2 receiver. And Tesla could be a good 3. I just don't know that Goff's ever had the chance to get to the 3rd read.
No, he doesn't.
Any progression. So it's like
everything
is just a 1-read deal for him right now because the line can't block anyone. So it's very limited on offense.
And I do want to clarify, I'm not down on Tesla. I'm down on the capital that was given up to acquire Tesla.
The capital given up in the usage of him.
And the utilization are the two things that I are a little bit head scratching. All right. So
back to
prediction.
Dallas. Yes.
I think the Cowboys are going to outscore the Lions. I think we're just getting them at the wrong time. Unless the Lions can make wholesale changes on defense, unless they can get a pass rush going, mix up the man-to-man with some zone. So I'm asking a lot of questions that I don't know we have answers to.
We have a lot of questions right now. This is where we're at.
I'm going to go like 34-31 Cowboys. I would hammer the over.
I think
what are your thoughts?
I'm right in line with you. I was going to say 35-28 Cowboys.
Sure.
I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with them. This is the first time this season you and I have probably gone against the grain here and picked against our guys.
I know.
We're at home. But I don't have much belief in this Lions defense right now. I think the offense will keep scoring. I do. I think the offense... There's so much talent on the offense, even with a lackluster O-line. We can still put points on the board. As long as you've got Gibbs out there and Goff out there and you've got J-Mo out there and you've got these guys that can make plays, you're still going to score. The question is, A, are you going to get up early? Or are you going to give the other team the lead early? Because that definitely changes the way the Lions offense runs. B, can the defense stop anyone? Can they stop anyone? Mm-hmm. They couldn't stop the Packers. They barely stopped the Giants. So can they stop anybody? That's going to be a big question. Is the league figured out how to attack us? We'll see.
So again, thank you for listening to the Detroit Lions Litter Box. Chet and I both appreciate it. We hope every one of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday with family and loved ones. We will bring you another pod to preview this and give you injury reports. It'll be a quick one sometime next week. And with that, go Honolulu Blue and Silver. Go Lions.
Go Lions.